with all this discussion and culture about marriage, someone has asked, well, what is marriage anyway? And they noted in the Genesis 24 passage, and Isaac took Rebekah and made her his wife and went into the tent and they were married. So what does the Bible say about what marriage actually is? And there's a sense in which it says precious little. When Jesus was asked questions that related to the nature of marriage, he went back to the created order. And he said, from the beginning, here's what God intended. A man, a woman, joined together, the two become one flesh. What God has joined together, let no man tear asunder. So, pretty straightforward, and it does, it seems to me, answer, at least with regards to Jesus' point of view, the standard for marriage. There's a male and a female who are committed together, and that commitment, that joining, entails a physical bond which is unique to that couple, and that relationship continues for the rest of their lives. So that's it. Male, female, sex within marriage only between those two people. Now that answers a host of questions, it seems to me, if that is the standard. And incidentally, I think it's not only the standard from God's perspective, I think it's the standard, obviously, without even having a Bible, which is why cultures from the beginning of time have acknowledged that there is a unique kind of relationship that people have. Heterosexual unions that are monogamous and long-term are the unions that form the foundational building blocks of culture, because they produce the next generation, and the families are those building blocks. Culture is made up of families. Culture doesn't construct the family. Families construct the cultures. So this is very straightforward, and it seems to me to answer all the questions. And that is, well, what about sex outside of marriage? It's not intended by God to happen. What about same-sex marriage? It's off the charts. This doesn't even make sense. This is like saying, what about marrying a tree? Well, trees weren't made to be joined to us that way, and other human beings of the same gender were not made to be joined to each other that way. It's not a marriage. You can call it what you want, but that doesn't change what it is. Okay, and in terms of sex outside of marriage, all of that. Divorce, it's all kind of captured in that simple thing. So Jesus did us a favor with this very basic reflection. Now, though we know why the world is the way it is, we have an accounting of that. God made the world that particular way. At the same time, others can get married without knowing anything about God at all. And the commitment still can be made, a man to a woman. How that's made and how public that is, and the ceremonies and everything vary from culture to culture. And sometimes it may not even be official, it might be unofficial, where you move in and hang out, and de facto, after a certain amount of time, you are basically functioning as husband and wife. The law calls that a common law marriage, but so it doesn't even have to have an official title in a certain sense, but generally, because it's so important, cultures have celebrated that event so that the commitment is public. The commitment between one man and one woman is public, so that the culture then can do what they can to encourage that relationship. And so governments give licenses to kind of map over that natural institution to strengthen it. The government doesn't create the institution. It's already there. It's happening naturally. It's the way reality is structured, and we know why reality is structured that way. We have the inside look from Genesis 2, and that's what Jesus cited. So the basic components of marriage are very straightforward. One man, one woman, joined for life, within which relationship sex happens. Not before, not outside of it. Not outside of it during that union, just for them. That's the pattern. And the celebration of that event happens in lots of different ways, but that's the core of marriage.